coupons, people always want, to save money. So coupons are a great way that you might be able to incorporate these into a hyperlocal blog, as long as they're valuable coupons. I mean, if somebody always does, a mattress sale, how many people need a new mattress? Pick coupons that are going to really, really be valuable to people and have a broader appeal. And maybe write about those, or again, maybe just put them out there on Facebook and things like that, which are, trying to reach your hyper local community as well. And then I just put on here, what else? You know better than me what voids there are in your niche, and you need to give some hard consideration to what is it that people in my community need. Do they need a fishing guide report? Do they need I mean, I don't know, you tell me. What is it that people in your community need, or what popped into your mind the second that I said that? And maybe that's something you want to start to create on your website. Okay, just make sure that doesn't have to have mass appeal, but it does have to have general appeal so that it's worth your time and effort of maintaining it. Excuse me, I should have silenced that. And so that's what we talk about when we start getting into this idea of adding value, and how we can get into that. I want to take the rest of this class and sort of, first of all, I want to once again ask for questions, and I'm going to pull some examples up here. But you guys let me know, what questions you have about the idea of forming a hyperlocal blog and things like that. Start typing them in now, or raise your hand if you want to come on and ask me a really complicated question, things like that. There's a raise your hand button, and I'm happy to bring you on. But I am going to start reviewing sort of some of these blogs that I really like, as hyperlocal blogs, and talk about what they do really good, so that you can go visit this list at the end of this class, and you can start looking, and hopefully you can be, like I've put here for my McClellanville, hopefully a little bit of all. Hopefully I take a lot of these things that I've appreciated from these blogs and I combine them onto my website. So let me go back here. Okay. First one I'm going to talk about here. Let's see. RJ's asking me, ChicosRealEstateSource.com. Is that not niche-y enough? The name itself doesn't imply. I mean, Chico's a big area, and I'm in South Carolina, so I don't know a lot about Chico other than we've got several clients that are there, so it must be a pretty big area. Okay, if you know the population, throw in the population, and I'll 65,000. So that's not huge. I mean, I grew up in a town of 500, and then I lived in a town of about 85 to 80,000. So I know what a 65,000 town is. The trick would be, you could make that a hyperlocal blog. You've just got to narrow it down and just not talk all about real estate. But again, I mean, with the name Chico's Real Estate Source, you have sort of narrowed yourself into this idea of, well, I know what I would expect if I were to plug that in. I expect information about real estate and Chico. And the idea of hyperlocal blogging is to spread beyond that a little bit and talk about the community. But you could, from a hyperlocal blogging perspective, you could start talking about neighborhoods and bring it into not just, this is such and such neighborhood, and these are the homes for sale in it, but talk about what resources are in this neighborhood. Maybe you want to do a neighborhood of the week or a neighborhood of the month post and spotlight a neighborhood, and really, maybe you go out and you interview people and you get a video of of neighbors saying what's their favorite thing about the neighborhood, or maybe you just do a video tour of it. There's lots of things you can do to make it more niche-y. And then you're starting to build yourself up a presence for each one of these neighborhoods rather than just talking about Chico real estate as a whole. So that would be my advice, sort of, since you threw out the limited information that I have. Let's see here. So Lake Martin Voice, this is a friend of mine who I met through the Real Estate Tomato. I should clarify. We met as real estate bloggers and then we have met up before. He took me hunting, and we've had a good time building our friendship and helping each other out with blogging. We share ideas with each other, and when I come onto something new, I share it with him, and say, hey, this is a really cool idea. It's really working for me, and he does the same for me. But he's in Alabama in sort of a lakefront community, and he just writes about lakefront homes for sale and things like that. But what I really like about Lake Martin Voice and John Coley is that he puts a great local flair on everything. I mean, I'm obviously being a Southerner, you know, I've got the attraction towards all things Southern, but you get an impression of the community by the way he talks about it. Everything, you can tell that he was born and raised there, and if you weren't born and raised in the area that you're working in, it doesn't mean that you can't succeed at hyperlocal blogging, but you can just get that feeling from him. He's comfortable about everything that he discusses. He also does a great job with videos. If you want to learn more, if you want to see how to do a video well, John didn't start off doing videos well. I've watched him all along, and he's stumbled just like everybody else has in a learning process. But he's gotten himself to the point now that he produces a top-notch video. He doesn't pay $1 million for the best equipment. He's done a couple of upgrades here and there on equipments, like a little remote speaker that he can tuck into his lapel and things like that. But he just does an excellent job with video, and I think that's one of the things when we talk about showing people your personal side. A video can do it so much easier than words on a paper, and so that's what more and more people are sort of shifting towards. But here's and I haven't visited any of these sites before this class, so I'm just going to sort of say, oh, here you go. But John heard somebody talking about a bear sighting, I'm sure, and so he went out and he researched it a little bit, and he found a map, and he said black bears aren't supposed to be around here, and and he's just sort of talking about it, and excuse me, and then he's talking about real estate once again, but then he's talking about construction that's going to affect people in the area, and so he just talking about deer in a specific area, but I'm sure he's going to tie it back into real estate somehow, okay? And so, yeah, here you go. He's got a link to the villas at Harbor Point, okay? The point is that real estate's not always far from the conversation, but a lot of times it's a more local, a more friendly conversation than just market updates and listings and things like that. I don't think he even does new listings on here. Maybe he does, but some agents don't do new listings, and some do. I know he's got a ton of them, but so he's talking about events and things like this. Next one I've got on my list is a blog called centersandsquares.com, and I just like the content that these guys have been producing. I'm trying to remember how long they've been with this, but they're about a year. Yeah, so July 09. So they've been blogging for a year and a half now. And they've been improving all along with their content. But just come check out this blog, read some of the content that they're writing, check it out. They do a great job because they're just focusing on a small local geographic area, and they she does a lot of market updates. I know that. So if you want to study her market updates and read how she does those, but she's just covering sort of the gamut of hyperlocal blogging, but again, sort of tying it back into real estate and things like that. I like to give this one as an example. This is Parkland Parrott. I helped him work on a neighborhoods pages, and he's built up some really good resources. So, RJ, this might be the type of thing that you can sort of curb your website towards. He's talking about other things that are going on in his community. And I don't know how big Parkland is. It's not that big, but it's got a lot of gated communities and things like that in it. But as we look down his sidebar, he's got, in addition to his categories, he's got Parkland schools, and he's got a page for each type of school that somebody might have kids in. So if I've got kids in an elementary school, and I'm looking, to live in this area, then I can go to his elementary school, and he's got all of the resources that I need. Okay, a lot of it's mostly just links, but he's put pictures and stuff like that in here to sort of spice it up a little bit. Okay, he's also got information about each of the parks. The name of the town's Parkland, so it must have really good parks or something. He's got some religious centers in here, Parkland city information, and then over here, you can see this massive neighborhood resource that he's built up, okay? And then he's also got a page up here called Parkland Neighborhoods, and this is what I helped him set up. But basically, we just created some tables which showed off these neighborhood pages a little bit better. He has some images, and it's loading slow, so I'm sure you're waiting to see it. But he's got some images and a quick description about each neighborhood. And then once I get in here, if I click on a specific neighborhood, then I've got even more description about the neighborhood. And it's mostly related to real estate. I mean, he's talking about homes for sale and real estate prices and what kind of homes there are. And then he specifically is using the Diverse Solutions plugin, which allows him to embed homes for sale that are in that market. And so I can instantly tell you that there's 4 homes for sale in that market. And I can get all the information that I want. I can click that and be taken to more information. So this is a really nice plugin that Diverse Solutions has, but you're going to end up paying about $120, give or take, depending on what market you're in and things like that, a month for it. And I don't even know what the setup fee is, but it could be $500 to $1,000 as well. So pretty expensive add-on from my perspective. But the thing that's great about this is it's a set it and forget it plugin. He's told it always display neighborhood, homes for sale in this neighborhood. And if this listing gets sold tomorrow, it's going to disappear off this list. If a new one appears, it's going to get added to this list. So that's a lot. There's a lot to be said for that. The fact that he doesn't have to manage, these 25, 30 pages of and always be adding different ones. Let's see. RJ asked, how important are internal links and external links, backlinks to SEO for this webinar? Well, RJ, it's a totally different subject, but as David, right? Yeah, as David can attest to, having just sat through both of my SEO classes, internal links coming into your site, backlinks, are extremely important for SEO. If you want to look on the calendar next month, I'll have another off-site SEO class, and we'll talk a lot about how to build incoming links and things like that, and that can really help you build your success. Internal links are good for passing around SEO. For instance, the fact that he's got a sidebar that links to all these, he's passing SEO to these pages. But more than anything, what I look for in the internal links is not from an SEO perspective, but a call to action. As I look at this page here, as I scroll down, he's got a link that says contact us. Okay, he makes it easy. He predicts, and I mean, the best bloggers do this. I'm not saying that he's a skilled pro at this, but you try to predict somebody's next question and you link them to the answer. Okay, and ideally that would be a link onto your own website. Okay, and so that's what I think of with internal links. Let's move along to northshoreviews.com. This is a blogger that I really value for their organizational skills. Sometimes the hardest job we can do is to come up with some sort of way to organize it. And I was surprised when this blogger, after me telling her specifically that, when I was training her, that, you should only have 5 to 10 categories, she popped over here and put up about 20 categories. And then I looked at it and I said, that is so well laid out, and sometimes people just have a mind for doing that. But, it lets you know that there's more than one way to do things, okay? And I'm, going off on a tangent about our categories, but when you look at this, it's organized, okay? And she writes about a lot of different smaller communities, but she's got a category for each one. So if I want to know just about Winnetka, then I click on Winnetka, and I'm taken to this category where she's talking about the Indian Hills neighborhood. And then she's talking about last call for rummage sales, whatever that has to do with, but it's specifically in Wilmette and Winnetka, so it must be something for those areas. 5th annual Hounds for Hadley, something going on in the Winnetka community, okay? So she's got a page that sort of makes this a whole bunch of mini